Okay, so today we're going to run through optimal training programming and a brief bit of nutrition in terms of adding strength and size if you're in a physique sport or athletic sport you need strength, such as rugby. Initially, in terms of programming, I would suggest you run something like a push-pull leg split, focusing on the big compound movements and then focusing on getting stronger on those movements. Generally, we would look to keep the volume quite low in terms of the big exercises, so you're probably looking to do maximum of 2 working sets, starting with a heavy set of probably loading between 6 to 8 reps and then a back off set of probably 10 to 15 reps. On all of these exercises we'll be looking to try and go to failure within the safe realm that you can do, so don't push yourself to the limit where you're going to get injured, but push yourself to muscular failure and ideally try and have a spotter with you when you can. So prior to any sort of leg training I would always try and loosen up and do some mobility work on my lower body, in particular around my hips and my lower back, which as most people, if you're sitting down all the time, you tend to get very tight. So I end up doing most sort of work I can do lying on my back, just working on the pivoting from the hips and creating some sort of tension there, just to try and loosen off the lower body and get it moving, getting the range going and get some blood in there. I would also suggest if you are feeling very stiff, maybe jumping on a piece of cardio equipment for 5 minutes, just to get some blood moving around, just get everything warmed up nicely, but really just go with your feel. In terms of warming up with the training, I would take it slow, so start on a lightweight, start maybe doing 10-15 reps on say 60 kilos on the squat, then maybe go up to 80 or 100, do 4 to 6 reps and just keep going up in, depending on your strength, probably at 25% to 50% weight loads. And again, keep the reps quite low, 2 to 4, just focusing on perfect form as you increase the weight. So using a belt for squatting and exercise, it's very person dependent, so it's personally how you feel. When it gets heavier, I would like to use a belt or knee sleeves as well, just because it gives me more security. On lighter weights, I wouldn't really worry with it. If you don't feel the need to use a belt, you don't feel like you have to use a belt. This for me is just a safety mechanism in my brain to make me feel more stable. And the more stable you make your body, the better the muscles can contract within your body. So again, with the squat, in terms of how you want to set yourself up, it depends a lot on your structure and how you feel. Personally, I go with a wider stance, my feet pointing slightly outwards, as that's naturally how I stand and walk. If I was to try and come here, narrow feet forward, I haven't got ankle or knee mobility to get any depth. So for me, I go slightly wider, feet slightly outwards. When I get to the bottom of the squat, I'm just trying to think about driving through my heels and keep my upper body in a solid position. Drive the heels and keep everything pushing upwards. So on pull days, back days, the big compound movement you want to use to get as strong as possible and build as much mass as possible is the deadlift. So the deadlift, in my eyes, is the king of all sort of strength testing methods. That everyone harps on about who's the strongest deadlifter in the world. So it's a wicked exercise where you can use a lot on weight, but a lot of people do this very wrong. There's a couple of things I really think about when I'm doing a deadlift. First, the one is just the initial position, and that's in terms of getting your hips low from the start. Because if you start with your hips too high, you will naturally pull your back and have an arch in your back. And when you're at the bottom of the deadlift, think about driving through the heels of your feet. Think mentally in your mind, almost like it's a leg press, and trying to push the floor away just with the weight in your hand. So those are a couple of cues I try and think about when I'm first going for that first rep from the initial start position at the bottom. Okay, so personally I prefer incline bench to flat bench, as I find it puts less stress on your shoulders. So I'd always opt, if you're looking for strength and size, to use an incline bench. Also, in terms of range on the bench, don't come all the way down to the chest. In particular, I have quite a big rib cage, so as soon as I come down to here at full depth, that's putting a lot of strain on my shoulder, and also the weight's coming off the chest, kind of all onto the front delt. So for me, I'll try and stop the range about 1 inch or 2 short of actually hitting my chest, and just try and stay contracted throughout the entire range. It's very important when you initially take the weight off, try and keep your abs contracted, keep yourself nice and stable in a solid position, control all the way down. I bring the weight down to, like in terms of alignment, just above my collarbones, and keep it nice, smooth and controlled, and try and contract throughout the entire range, just with my chest. To go alongside your training, you must accompany it with actually logging your lifts. So Exhibit A logbook. So I would write down every single training session with my terrible handwriting that I've done the last few months. So this goes back to March. Now the beauty of using this is that every session you can come in, you know exactly what you've done before, and then you have a clear goal. This is what I need to do to improve my strength. If you can progressively improve your strength over a period of time whilst increasing your body weight, then you're guaranteed to be adding muscle mass, which will pretty much lead to your end goal. Also alongside, obviously, the logbooking, nutrition is very important, so I'm a big advocate of pushing carbohydrate timing around workouts. So I will have in here, this is 45 grams of carbohydrates, all mixed in, so that will be cyclodextrin, creatine, and also essential amino acids. So that's critical whilst you're training to fuel your performance. And I would also ensure you have adequate carbohydrates pre and post training. So prior to training, I'd have like an oats or ground rice, and then post workout, bring your food with you, something like turkey, and then so you've got lean protein, turkey, and then rice, and you can have fast acting carbs like cereal or fruit, anything else like that you want with it. If you're looking to grow, then you have to be in a calorie surplus. If your weight's not moving week on week, then I suggest you keep upping your calories gradually, 300 calories a week. Firstly, trying to push the calories from carbohydrates mostly around the workout perimeter. Hope these tips help, guys. If you want to get stronger, you want to grow, just focus on all these key factors: strength, calories, big compound lifts, and you'll get to where you want to be.